Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 87th episode of Let's Talk About Market. Today we saw meaningful volatility in the Nifty index, but it did manage to give a positive daily close. And yesterday we had discussed that there was a doji like pattern. So, can this lead to a short term bottom? That is the question that we have. So let us analyze the data and then try to be more objective of what to expect next. So let me quickly share my screen, and if someone can please confirm if they are able to see my screen, then we can get started. So if you all are able to hear me properly and see my screen, then please let me know. Sorry. Okay. Thanks for the confirmation. So for the Nifty index, we had spoken about this, right? That somewhere around 25,000 was an important support level. And from there, the Nifty index has managed to bounce back. So this sort of candle is not very decisive because, we have closed below where we have opened. But nevertheless, having a positive daily close sort of tells us that, maybe this low can be an important swing low in the near term. And if it does not break on the downside, we can have some sort of pullback. Now, see, if you were doing a normal technical analysis, you would say that okay, this is a bottom bounce, okay, वापस गिर जाएगा. This is what the normal thing that we may assume. But when you add a layer of sentiment indicator, sorry, just give me a minute. No, why? Wait, let me delete tab. Alright, just give me a minute. Okay. So, but when we look at the sentiment indicators, I had mentioned yesterday that a lot of things were getting into oversold zone. So this is our extreme short term setup, where it was 5 lakh 68, sorry, 87, 5 lakh 87,000 contracts. And this is, of course, in crores. And we had some positive divergence over here. And moreover, this was at the bottom end of the range. So, looking at this data, you would expect that maybe we get a bit of a durable bottom over here, and maybe after that we decline. So I think I am not arguing on that fact that this can be the absolute bottom, but definitely what can happen in the near term is that there can be some meaningful pullback. And the reason why I'm saying this is that this is not something that I've made up, but you would often see these things happening. Okay, but yeah, one thing is that these all things, when it happens, the prior trend is up. Okay, see, you see it over here, this sort of pattern. Then let me just try and mark it where all we have seen such patterns occurring. It is over here. Okay, it is over here. Then when it has happened like this, mm, we actually should take a example of a bear market as well, so that you understand that even if it happens in a corrective phase, it can still work out. See, we have somewhere over here, right? So this, why I'm trying to show you this is because this is the data that we have. right? I mean, this cannot lie. So what we are trying to see over here is that, see, in I mean, in last 1 year there have been 5 occasions where we have seen it. In almost two of the occasion, in fact 3 occasions, it has worked out as it is. I mean, we have formed a bottom within a day or two, and then the up move or a pullback has started. But in some cases, if I do this bar, there has been this sideways consolidation, or a bit of a grind lower sort of movement that you see over here. Because see, this was the phase where almost in a day or two we got a move. Okay, this immediately a bottom was formed and a move happened. Over here also similarly, similar thing had happened. Then over here you see there was a bit of a correction that went on. Okay, and only after that we saw a pullback. Okay, but over here also within 1 or 2 days, we saw this up move happening. So basically, see, through this, what I'm trying to conclude is that maybe the worst of the pain, at least in the near term, could be complete. If I have to go by this, then yes, there is a possibility that something of this sort of thing can happen where it can grind down slowly, and there will be some positive divergence that we see, and only after that we move higher. Okay, uh, I mean, this what I explained you, this can be a little more painful, in which case we keep grinding down slowly. So that is why, I mean, say for example, worst case, if this has to happen, then in such cases averages won't break on the upside. Okay, that means at least the 40-hour average, which is over here, that won't break, and it will keep finding resistance over there, and it will keep selling off. Okay, once the 40-day breaks on the upside, that's where you can anticipate there may be a little more durable pullback can come, probably till here. Okay, so in the next 1 or 2 days, the watching point will be what happens around the 40-hour exponential average, and that is something that you really need to take a note of. If it is below the 40-day, cycles are getting complete, and then a sell crossover is happening, then maybe you might want to trust that crossover, thinking that the Nifty index can drift lower. But as I told you, I mean, in the downside, then somewhere around this 24,600 to 24,400 level, I mean, those can be the levels to watch out for in the near term. I am hoping that things things don't get worse beyond these point, at least in the near term. Okay, so this is what we have. I mean, maybe over here, the low has established and we see a pullback in the coming days. A much more reliable pullback can come if the Nifty starts trading above this 40-hour exponential average, okay, which is over here. If it starts trading above that, then we can have a lot more durable pullback. And while this durable pullback happens, you may want to you may want to see what is the 61.8% retracement, and that will be your point, where those pullbacks can happen if at all it has to get deeper. Now please understand one thing, that overall from a short to medium term perspective, because this trend line was broken and we have started to make lower top lower bottom pattern, the trend is kind of bearish right now. Okay, so basically till the time somewhere around this zone is not broken decisively on the upside, it can so happen that this just ends up being a pullback and we fall further, right? This is entirely possible. So this is something that you need to understand. But all it means is that, and see, of course, in this phase, I think given the way the now the market is, it is entirely possible that stocks do their own thing and index does its own thing. But because many people do trade Nifty, and it would be important for them to know the view. So that is what I'm trying to share. Okay, so this is what I think right now, that maybe this low has become an important low, and maybe we end up getting a pullback. But is this a reversal of a trend or a bottom? I am not too sure. I will be more, confident once, this zone is broken on the upside and we are above the averages, because by then what will happen is that the RMI will also get to a bullish crossover zone. So that would be a good sign. Okay. So that's the near term thing that I will be watching out for. And more importantly, I'll try to see, because the daily swing is the one that comes up very very fast. Okay, so if the daily comes up to 70 or 80, I mean 80 or 90, this is where I will feel that okay, now maybe the pullback is done. Because why I'm saying that is because whenever there is a bear market correction, so imagine that if this is going to translate into a deeper correction, then every time when it will go to 80, 90, it will face resistance and it will sell off, right? So as of now, because the trend is down, see, I have always told you that understand what the trend is and then try to trade with swing accordingly. So at this point of time, because the trend has turned down in the short term, the chances of swing coming to 80 and then Nifty selling off, I mean that probability is high, because as of now we don't have a trend reversal, right? It's only when this higher top, higher bottom, I mean lower top, lower bottom structure is broken on the upside decisively, that's where maybe then we will have to relook. But as things stand, this is what the view is, that in the near term a pullback happens. So whether pullback turns 61.8%, I mean goes up to 61.8% retracement of the decline, or it ends up, or the daily swing ends up coming towards this 80-90 zone, that's where you can say that maybe in the short term the pullback that we were anticipating, that is getting complete. And after that we'll take a view as to how the market is behaving and what are the market internals. Okay. Now with this, usually option chain helps a lot, because it helps us to tell the range what people are expecting. So now, given that we are coming to the monthly expiry, and if I do the combined OI, so combined OI meaning all the expiries, right? So over here, what people are anticipating is that 25,500 to be a important resistance, and 25,000 to be an important support. Okay. So I think in the next 1 week, the expectation will be that this 25,000 will be defended, and the largest open interest is around the 26,000 mark. So if this 25,000 breaks on the upside, then based on the option chain, 26,000 will be the level to watch out for. And in fact, in today's trading session, you can see that 25,400, 300 has seen a meaningful OI addition. Probably that was the reason why we saw selling pressure at higher level. But yes, in the near term, as we see, 25,500 is an important resistance level in the near term. Okay, so this you have to keep in mind, and you have to trade. And if you see the Nifty hourly chart, the hourly averages are now at around 25,420 on the spot chart. So the Nifty index needs to break and sustain above this. Then this upper channel will be the level, and then it will have to cross each hurdle, then to rise higher towards 25,800 or so. But 25,800 or so is where the 61.8% retracement level is. And in this pullback, if it has to translate into meaningful pullback, then it will go up to this 25,800 level, which will be like a 900 point pullback from the bottom. In percentage terms, it may not matter much, because now Nifty is 26,000 almost. But in points term, this is what it is. Like, it would be almost around 900 points. And see, that's why I've repeatedly told that if you want to time your trades to a good extent, then use swing, average swing, and use this combination. It works really really well. Okay, and see, these are all things that I have been talking to you, or we have been discussing. Even, I mean, while I was saying on 20th that 25,000 will work very well, that was because the way these indicators were behaving and what the data was showing. Okay, it was not my personal bias, but this is what the data was telling me, and that is what was making me a little more confident that a pullback can come. And in fact, from this low, if you see, already a 500 point pullback has come, right? So if you're trading, those swing matters a lot, right? So that is why, I think you will find these indicators very very helpful as and when you learn. The reason why I try to discuss this every day is because you also get to understand the behavior and the reliability of it, because whatever I'm trying to speak or trying to think of in the short term, it is all based on all these indicators. Okay, and then as I told you, I mean, it is beyond 25,800 where I will start thinking that a significant bottom is made. That is because if you see the short term indicators, okay, where all these indicators come towards this oversold zone, that is what has happened. I mean, these all things not don't happen almost every day. It happened once in a while. So you can see, this had happened over here, somewhere over here. But it is also true that even in the start of the bear market, these things can happen. Like you end up seeing something like this. Somewhere over here, we had seen this. So now, whether this is the start of a bear market or this is just a routine correction, I mean, these are all debates that we can have. Uh, and as I told you, I mean, we will try to think of what can happen in the next 3 days, 5 days, and we'll take it on from there. What to expect next. Okay, but as I told you, I mean, these combinations, they don't come to the oversold zone very very often. And if at all, the bear market has to happen, then in many of these indicators you will just end up seeing positive divergence before a major bottom occurs. Okay, so just imagine that if this has to pull back and if it has to go down, then you will end up seeing these indicators turning around and forming positive divergence for few weeks or few months. I mean, for few weeks, and only after that, we will end up seeing a bottom. So you need to keep that in mind, and that's where just focusing on swing, average swing, to time your extreme short term tops and bottoms itself will become very very helpful. And of course, during this next few days, we will be explicitly talking about this so that you understand the behavior of this indicator, because this is our proprietary indicator and we have been using it for quite some time to time the tops and bottoms in the extreme short term. And this helps us in a good way, because it can help you to catch such swing highs and lows as well. Okay, so so this is about the sentiment indicators, and needless to say that there are these medium term indicators which are still extremely bearish. But as I've been telling you all earlier as well, for that we need a price action reversal. And now there has been two or three bottoms around 26,300. I think 26,300 needs to be decisively broken on the upside. Uh, and until that does not happen, I think this choppy move or this bearish reading will continue. It's only, I think, when 26,300 breaks decisively on the upside, that's where I think the shorts might finally panic. Because if it has to happen next time, it will be the fourth attempt. And it's like knocking the door. I mean, you're trying to break the door, so once, twice, thrice it does not happen, there is a very high chance that more and more times this door starts knocking. I think at some point of time it should break out. Okay, so that is what it is. But in the near term, you need to understand that somewhere around this 25,800 850 zone is where a major resistance is. So if at all a pullback happens, then this is the zone that you need to watch out for, from where a correction can further happen. Okay, so something that you should take a look at. And in this case, what one needs to try and do is that identify which are the weak sectors. Okay, because you have to clearly segregate that which are the ones that are turning weak, and for that maybe you can also look at weekly RRG, because it will help you in a way to understand which are the weak ones. Wait, let me just take Nifty indices where, okay, so you can see that reality, no scene of a reversal yet. Autos losing momentum, not a good sign. Oil and gas losing momentum. Infra has come in a lagging zone, right? So these are your weak ones. Which are your strong ones? PSC. In fact, okay, pharma again it is trying to reverse. But if you see PSC, private banks, so PSC, then banks and metal. These are broadly the ones that are strongly gaining momentum, and MNC is also one where some outperformance is seen. So if you have to try to find some longs, maybe you might want to see somewhere over here. IT is kind of plateauing out, so I would want to wait and see what happens over here. But it is the media where there is some traction seen. PSC, then pharma also trying to turn around, financial service. So these are the ones where the momentum and relative strength both are strong. So as this pullback happens in the near term, maybe these are the sectors that you might want to see. And if you see reality is it is getting bashed, so we had spoken about this, right? If you see Godrej properties and all, they are just collapsing. You see the daily chart and it continues to collapse. So after this breakdown, so that is why it is very very important to understand which sectors are into outperforming sectors, which are underperforming. That can help you to be in the right space and be in the right trades as well, right? And that can really help you with a good peace of mind when you're trading. And another important thing, maybe this can also give you a clue. So from here, if the VIX collapse, then you can get a good indication that that the Nifty can break above the the 25,800 mark. But say for example, if the pullback happens over here and from averages it again starts rising higher, and more importantly if it starts sustaining above the 14 mark, then that the risk is very high of a correction. Okay, so India VIX itself can also give you a lot of information, so you need to keep an eye on that. And I think of course then you have these scanners for you, especially the RMI scanner, which I use more often. Just try to see where is it that new buy new sales are happening, and see where is it that the opportunity lies. I'm sure you should be able to find out good trades using this. Okay, so I think that's it from my side. I think we can take up the questions now. Yeah, hi Shivu, good to see you here. I'm fine, I hope you're doing fine and well. uh, Deepak says hi. Based on the rising wedge on the daily chart, all the lower target seems to be achieved. Is it possible to see a sharp? So, yeah, Deepak, I think you might have figured out the answer by the end, because the ones which you have mentioned, these are the ones which are gaining momentum on RRG charts as well. So maybe these can be the one that can see some pullback. But I would still say that don't try to preempt a bottom, because I mean Nifty index has resisted around this 26,300 mark for the third time. It's not a good sign, and in fact the fall has been furious as well. I mean has been pretty sharp as well. So wait for the confirmation, because see, one thing is for sure, that if at all the reversal happens, there will be a big move that is waiting. So don't try to find the bottom, because once those short covering move happens, it will not be just fast, but it can be meaningful as well, because there is a lot of short positions that are there. Okay, So this is something that you might want to keep in mind. Holding strong and IT showing some strength, and so is pharma. So yes, you are right. I mean, I think you might be checking the RRG chart, because that is what I saw in the end, and all the sectors that you're naming. I mean, those are all having lucrative charts. I mean, those are all at least suggesting on the RRG charts that they can underperform in the near term. I mean, they can outperform in the near term. Uh, So Kandari, so see, I mean, I'm not an expert to talk about Nifty कि कल क्या होगा. I am just trying to give you a broader sense of what I'm thinking. And yes, I mean, I think in the coming days it should rise higher. What will it do tomorrow? It all depends on what Trump says today, tonight, because he's the one, who seems to be driving the market. But yeah, I mean, broadly I would expect that today's positive close uh, can lead to a potential bottom in the near term, and in the coming days you can expect the Nifty index to move higher towards 25 500, then 25 800 sort of levels. But just keep in mind, Nifty index needs to break above this 40-day exponential average, which is currently at 25.51, I mean 414. But every passing hour, this will keep going down. So it basically needs to break and sustain above the 40-hour average for a meaningful pullback to happen, is how I would put it. So any more questions, please let me know. We'll I'll try to, resolve your queries or doubts or whatever you have, or any issues that you're facing with Stripe. So I'll try to, clear it out. Connected to other, connected to other people. Any questions, please let me know. If not, then maybe we can wind up the session for today. And tell me honestly, how many of y'all are using swing, average swing, and are you finding it helpful in timing the short-term tops and bottoms? Because I've been talking extensively about that in the last, I mean, whatever 87 sessions that we have done. I think I have tried to cover it. I mean, almost we have been discussing about it every day. So do tell me honestly if y'all are using it in your trading, and are you all finding it helpful? Piyush. So, Piyush, I don't want to get into stock specific, but I can largely tell you that the metal index in general is, so far looking bullish. There hasn't been any signs of a breakdown yet. And more importantly, we saw it through RRG that it is outperforming as well. So, I think I would want to leave it by saying this. Yeah, I mean, there have been many regular people like Deepak, Akash, I think Ajay also. So, you can please tell me if you all are using swing, average swing, and if you all are finding it helpful. Okay, I can't see any queries, nor people seem to be replying for swing, average swing. But I hope you all find it helpful. We so in the next few days it will be very interesting to see how swing average swing behaves, because through that you will get to know the power of how to kind of time the short term tops and bottoms. And we'll try to I mean we'll try to have a deeper discussion through that. uh, there is a question from Ankit. Copper, aluminum per ounce dollars are sliding, and even it is reflected in the Indian market, but RRG shows metal is going up. So, Ankit, good question. See, one thing that you have to understand is that RRG is relative terms. Okay, I mean everything that we are talking about is in relative terms. So, say if Nifty falls and Nifty metal falls less, it means it is outperforming. Okay, that is the context that you need to keep in mind. In absolute terms, you are right. There has been some pullback, but this is what I was telling to the other gentleman, that if you see the prices, while the Nifty index has fallen so much, metal is almost near to its all time high only. And moreover, it has been trending higher at the 20-day average. Okay. So, this is what I was saying, that as long as the 40-day holds, I mean, it is possible that, it can have some correction towards the 40-day, or maybe towards this trend line breakout as well. So, as long as it is above that, it is all good. The moment this breaks on the downside, okay, then you can expect that the underperformance can be seen in metal. But I think until that does not happen, more or less it seems to be an outperformer, and maybe it can also end up giving you absolute gains as well, if the important levels are not breached. I hope that answers your question, Ankit. But it's very important to understand what we talk about in RRG. Those are all in relative terms. Okay, means Nifty falls 5%, metal falls 1%. It is an outperformer, right? Okay, so I think that's it from my side. I think I've tried to address all the queries. So let's catch up tomorrow and see what the Nifty index does. And more importantly, tomorrow is even the weekly close. So we'll scan through how the weekly charts are also shaping up. Because if you'll remember, I mean, it is I mean, the Nifty index was around the 40 week. So it will be interesting to see tomorrow if the 40 week is held or not. So Ankit says usually the ratio of copper with minor stands at, but due to this slide the ratio has gone haywire. I am not sure, Ankit, about these ratios. I don't track it frankly, so not sure about it. So can't comment. Okay, so that's it. Let's catch up tomorrow at 5 p.m. And yeah, see you till then.